Alright, what's going on, guys? Try back again, here to bring you another video. This one's going to be doing a sort of comparison video. I'm going to be giving you my thoughts on which Avengers I thought was better, the original, the Avengers the movie, or the second, the sequel, Avengers Age of Ultron. Spoiler warning, by the way, for the second one. Okay, so I wanted to go ahead and make a video on this one since I think it's an interesting topic. I always like to compare, movies, especially if you have a movie series and kind of which is the best one out of that series. So, Avengers movies. I mean, this of course is not the last one. Age of Ultron, 2015. We're going to be getting more, and as those come out, I can do some future, comparisons as we get there. But with this one, I really wanted to do this video. If you guys missed, I did a spoiler review and a non-spoiler review. So if you have seen Avengers Age of Ultron or you haven't and you want to check out, I'll put the annotations there for you guys. There's my reviews. There are my thoughts on what I thought about the movies, how I felt, and the movie, and in spoiler form or non-spoiler, your choice. If you haven't seen it, non-spoiler. If you have, check out the spoiler, I would say. So you guys, if you watch my reviews, and you will have seen, my review of the original Avengers back in, 2012 now. Wow, the year's just flying by. It feels like yesterday since they did the first Avengers. It's like fresh in my mind. I guess, just time has really flown. And 3 years later, 2015, Age of Ultron. So both of these movies, I've compared some stats. They're about the same time in terms of runtime. I felt like the second one was longer for some reason, but it actually isn't. It's actually a minute less, like 142 versus 141 minutes. So, to compare these two. Now this is difficult because everybody kind of has their own opinion and kind of styles and what they like. A lot of it has to do, I think, with whether or not you like Loki as a villain better or Ultron as a villain better. For me, out of the two, I like them both. I thought that the first Avengers movie had a really fun kind of regular... the second one was fairly common, too, for a comic book story. But I just felt like the first one was like the perfect jumping on point for Avengers, even though I would have liked to see maybe some other villains, some other bigger, badder villains, and Loki is kind of like a Thor villain, but he was kind of the first villain in the comic books that the Avengers faced when they formed. So it makes sense that they would use him for a movie, even though I do kind of think that maybe Loki by himself is a threat that Thor should be able to deal with. But as we saw in the movie, he was given the scepter and all that, and he has this alien force, the Chitauri. So as we see the movie go through, of course, you got the big alien invasion, the big hole that opens up, and all the alien spacecrafts are flying through and everything, and you get the battle, and oh my God, it's got an epic ending. And I will say that I think between the two, it's pretty hard to beat the Hulkbuster versus Hulk fight. That's pretty epic. But I think the main difference here between the two is that the first one had that new feel to it. It was the first time we were getting to see all of the Avengers assembled together in a movie, shoulder to shoulder as they're fighting against the Chitauri shoulders. The famous, circle where you see them kind of back to back, and it shows all of them together, warming up and fighting. You got Hawkeye, he's like warming up the bow. Cap's got a shield. Iron Man's ready to go, and you got the Hulk, and we have the Hulk. And, everything is just getting ready for the final battle. And it's pretty epic. You've got, the nuke, you've got Downey and, Tony Stark, Iron Man. And, he's bringing the nuke through. And in a second there, I almost thought they might kill him off or he might not make it. And it was, the way they did it was really, really epic, man. It was really touching as he saves the city and that, and risks his own life, going from someone who seemed to be in the beginning, like in the first Iron Man movie, that very, very selfish, to be so selfless that he's willing to give his life to save everybody in the city. So there's the first one. Second one, so the first one, Loki. Second one, of course, Ultron. We carry on from the first one. And I feel like, even though the action sequences, it feels like there's more action in the second one, because you got the big battles and the big Hulk versus Hulkbuster, which is amazing. Which is probably, for me, the highlight of the whole movie is when they punch and boom, the sound, and all the glass shatters and everything. Final battle is great too. But I will say that I think in terms of story, I think the ending of the first one had more emotional pull than anything in the second one. Even though the death of Quicksilver was a bit that was pretty emotional, I would say, right? A little bit emotional. So yeah, but aside from that, Ultron is a villain. He's good. Yeah, he's a good villain. He's a strong villain. I did like to see him quite a bit, but I think he wasn't as fun as Loki was. I do think Loki was really fun, and also because Scarlet Witch kind of uses the mind tricks to kind of turn them against each other, and you see Hulk versus Hulkbuster, and you see the rest, they're all in kind of a daze and all that. It felt a little bit like the first one when they're busy fighting you type thing, as you see the Hulk get unleashed. A little bit repetitive almost, because it's like the same kind of thing. Even though in this case we got the Hulkbuster, so I'm not complaining. It was good too. But, in terms of the story, it didn't feel as fresh as the first time seeing it. And I think that's the big difference here. I think they're both probably on par with each other. The second one has some decent comedy. The first one has some probably even better comedy, like Puny God, when he grabs Loki's and he smashes it. That Puny God, that's really funny. I think the first one has better jokes, to tell you the truth. Shakespeare in the Park. Second one's got good ones as well too. But I just think the first one, because we'd never seen anything like it before, it was so funny to see them banter back and forth, and the just how the Avengers were getting along with each other or not getting along with each other, fighting each other, whatever. The second one, reindeer games and all those jokes that were so amazing. The second one, it was kind of like we're more used to it now, and it was still fun, and it was still great, and it still had awesome action. But it's just because I think the first one kind of has the hammer, because in this case, it would usually be the opposite, be the last one that was released that would be, have the advantage in a comparison. But in this case, I think I'm going to go with the first one as being my favorite between the two. I do prefer the first one to the second Avengers. And, part of it's the villain, because I thought Loki was more fun than Ultron. Also, the second one, they brought in a lot of new characters. And, even though Vision was really cool, and Quicksilver and Scarlet Witch were cool as well, too, and you got to see the sidekick Avengers, so to speak, at the end there as they're assembling. Even though all that stuff you got all that stuff. The first one, I think, is super special because it was the first time we were seeing the Avengers all together. If you swapped out the stories, so in other words, if you had Ultron being the villain in the first one and you had Loki being the villain in the second one, I would probably still go with the first one, because you would still get that kind of feel of that new feeling of seeing them all together, teamed up as a team. All in unison fighting together, which was really special, I think, for people who like the comic books and like the movies. So that said, I'm not saying, and I can understand if somebody liked the second one better, because some people would like Ultron better than Loki. And like I said, I think Ultron might be a bigger threat than Loki. In this case, though, Loki did have an alien army, so that does affect things. But by themselves, Ultron is a bigger threat, I'd want to say, in terms of what he can do and what his capabilities are, I think. But yeah, for me, the first one, it had that new feel. It was a little bit more fun, I think. It had some more silly comedy that got me better than the second one did, even though the second one had some funny stuff too, the go to sleep and sorry when he's fighting the Hulk. And there's lots of other stuff too. But yeah, I think I'm going to have to go with the first one in this comparison. It was so special to finally see them all together. It was like a dream come true for people that love the Marvel movies and love to watch the individual ones. To finally see them all together, all fighting together, that was something special. So the second one, still something special too, but it doesn't have that new feel. It's kind of like we're more used to it, and as such, it wouldn't. I don't think for most people it would blow your socks off as much as the first one, because you're getting to see them assemble for the first time. That said, the action sequences are probably better in the second one. The fight between Hulkbuster and the Hulk, probably better. The final fight is really good as well too. And it looks good, and it's a few years later, so things should get better as we go. The stories are both pretty, on the same par. I can see if someone liked the first one better or the second one better. All in all, I just quite simply thought the first one was just a little bit better. Not much, but because it was new, it was fun. I liked the jokes a little bit better, and I thought the ending was better than the ending in the second one, even though it was really good as well, too. That nuke was really, really good, man. I really liked that a lot. So, let me know what you guys think. Which Avengers you preferred, if you've seen them both. Write in the comments below. Which one did you like better? For me, it's just that kind of new feel that the first one had that got me a little bit more than the second one. But I love them. The more they make, I'll just be happy watching all of them. It's like watching an episode in a series. It's like, maybe the third one will be better than either of the first two. Who knows? We'll have to see what they do with it. We'll have to see what villains are chosen, and if we ever see, Thanos, and that maybe a big crossover. Can you imagine if we had like crossover with Guardians of the Galaxy and the Avengers? I'm assuming eventually they're probably going to do something like that. So we'll have to see how it goes. I haven't looked into the specifics of the phase 3 or whatever the phases are at. I don't know. I'm not too good with the phases. But yeah, for me, my opinion, the Avengers one was the best. So far, let me know what you guys think. Write your comments below. And if you like this comparison video, whether or not you agreed with me, that's not really the case. But if you just like the video, then thumb it up below. If you want to support the channel, please share it, please favorite it. If you missed my reviews, check out the reviews. And if you're new and you want to see more from me, review lots of stuff, talk about lots of stuff, you can send me your video suggestions as well. And I do take them into consideration and make videos you guys want to see. Go ahead and subscribe, bottom left. That's it for this one, guys. I'll see you for the next one. As always, it's Trev saying peace. Later, guys. See ya.